Hey YouTube, Wes here checking in with a brand new episode of the Vinyl Survivor. As always, I'm going to start this with a programming note that this is a pre-recorded video while we go through the moving process, moving to what I'm going to be calling Studio D, since this here where we're at right now is the third place I've made vinyl videos. So I'm going to be moving to a new house, and that's exciting, but it takes a long time to sort of get things moved, get things set up, get this place cleaned up, all that kind of stuff, because this is a rental. Starting to make new videos at the new house, probably starting in June sometime, or that's the plan, is starting in June will be Studio D videos. So let's get into it. This is a Vinyl Survivor video. This is where I talk about sort of the final process of listening to the albums that I've purchased in the past, and sort of when I give them a very critical listen. And this is where I let you know what I think of what I heard, whether it's something I want to keep or whether it's something that just wasn't for me for whatever reason. So let's go ahead and get into this. We're calling this Not on Spotify. Okay, so the first album we have to talk about is the fourth studio album from the band Silversun Pickups, titled Better Nature, from 2015, September 25th, 2015. Silversun Pickups are an LA indie rock group. Really cool, really dreamy indie rock, moving into sort of a shoegazy kind of feel. They have a really big sort of, just a big sound, like a Duran Duran or a U2 or something. They have that kind of big sound to them, where you could feel like they could play like a big arena and just rock. And I really love this band a lot and really enjoyed this. This is my first piece of vinyl from them. Really cool, like that. Nice colors on the album here. Really nice gatefold on this one. Yeah, that's a really cool photo. Did enjoy this one quite a bit. There's an insert with lyrics on it. Again, really nice, vibrant photography. And this is a 2 LP set on black vinyl. Really nice pressing, pressed at Palace, so really high quality. Silversun Pickups with their album Better Nature from 2015 definitely gets a thumbs up for me. As I said, big indie rock kind of feel, just awesome kind of stuff, high energy, get you feeling good, get your blood flowing. This is good music, so this one's definitely staying in the collection. Okay, next up we have another California group, but these guys are from the 1970s. This is the group C Train with their second studio album, self-titled C Train. They're a California country rockish kind of group. This album is most notable for being the first album produced by George Martin after the Beatles broke up. And it does have that sort of George Martin production feel to it. It definitely has a little bit of a Beatle-y kind of, not that they sound like the Beatles, but it just has that sort of, it feels like home, it feels like something even though this was a new group to me. It felt like home to me, I guess you could say, with that George Martin production. Nice gatefold with lyrics and liner notes on it. Really nice photography and whatnot on this. Very, very nice. And that's on the lime green Capitol label. Do like that label quite a bit. Yeah, as I said, just this album it felt like home to me, even though it was new to me. It's just good music, good enjoyable group. Really dug this one quite a bit. So that is a C Train with their self-titled second album. Definitely gets a thumbs up from me and staying in the collection. Okay, next up, moving into the 1980s, we have a compilation album by Boy George titled Hi Hat. This is a compilation of songs from his second and third solo albums, and a really nice mix of stuff on here if you're a fan of Boy George, Culture Club, those kind of things. This definitely fits in the sort of late 80s. It's a little more modern sounding, but really a good solid comp here. I had not heard any of these songs before. They were all new to me. Definitely a varied sort of feel to them. It's really nice in that way. Some of them are more dancey, some of them are more sort of soulful. Good stuff. Really thoroughly enjoyed this. And the inner sleeve has lyrics on it, which is nice. Didn't always get that especially in the late 80s when vinyl was going away. Black Virgin label, very nice. Yeah, as I said, I really enjoyed this. It was because it, had sort of its Boy George, and kind of what you're going to get with Boy George, and this doesn't sort of stray from that, but yet these are songs that are not real popular, so it's not stuff you've heard over and over again, but good solid songs, and I just definitely enjoyed this one. So this is a keeper for me, and gets a thumbs up, staying in my collection. Okay, moving on to a piece of hip hop here. We have a 90s album by the group Gangstas and Thugs. Their album titled Just Another Day from 1995. This was a production project by Coolio, and they're kind of a mixture of an R&B and hip hop group, but they tried to do this sort of gangsta kind of thing, and to me it doesn't work. It's just I was very disappointed with this album. I bought it sort of just as a blind buy. It was sort of a cheap blind buy kind of thing. I thought, it's hip hop. It's it's got Coolio associated with it. Maybe I'll like it. But it just didn't work out. That gangsta kind of thing mixed with the R&B. It just doesn't work for me. So yeah, I can't recommend this. Definitely not a keeper for me. It's on the MCA label, which I did like. This 90s MCA label. It was really cool, with the 1 and then the 2 and the crossed. Ones are crossed on this side and 2s are crossed on that side in the middle. Really cool, sort of silver and orange kind of motif there. Really dug the label. As I said, the music is not that interesting to me. It kind of contradicts itself. It kind of clashes with itself. So that's Gangstas and Thugs with Just Another Day, not on Spotify, and also not staying in my collection. Okay, next up we have an album from 1979 by Lisa Dalbello, who would later go on to be just known as Dalbello and do more of an art poppy kind of thing. But this is her album titled Pretty Girls, 1979, as I said, and it's definitely more of a disco-y kind of feel. It's again, this is kind of a disappointment a bit. It has its moments, but overall, it's not as good as that later Dalbello sort of art pop kind of stuff that was pretty interesting. On the Talisman Records label, which is an interesting label that I hadn't seen before, and the labels are actually smaller than normal labels. It's kind of interesting. You can see sort of the raised area in the middle of the record that normally the label covers, and this label doesn't cover that whole area, so just slightly smaller, which is interesting. But yeah, just doesn't really do much for me. For now, I'm going to keep this because I'm still exploring Lisa Dalbello in her career and picking up her albums, and I have a few more. So I want to wait till I sort of have more and can kind of get a bigger picture of things before I decide I don't want to keep this anymore. But for now, this one's going to be staying in my collection. It is not on Spotify, so I can't go back and listen to it later. All right, next up we have the 8th studio album from the classic soul R&B group Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, titled All Things Happen in Time, 1981 on MCA Records. And yeah, again, this has a little bit of a disco tinge to it, but it's still, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. You're getting that sort of soulful, group sort of sound and harmonizing and stuff, and it's good stuff, and it's not typically what you hear when you hear of Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, or some of this later stuff. So I definitely dug this quite a bit, and even though as I said, it has some disco tinged moments at times, but it's not real bad. An enjoyable album. I enjoyed this more than I thought I would. I was expecting to just not really care for this too much at all, but definitely, yeah, I dug it. It's not going to take the place of any of their really big hits, but it's a good solid album and good enjoyable one. So I say pick it up if you see it and you're into this kind of stuff. MCA Rainbow label. Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, All Things Happen in Time from 1981. Not on Spotify, but is staying in my collection. Okay, next thing we have to talk about, moving into, I guess, what you could call the metal genre here, we have the 1982 live album from the band Saxon, titled The Eagle Has Landed Live. Here is the back cover. This is a French pressing of this album, so it's on a thinner cardstock and pretty glossy. Yeah, I mean, Saxon are great if you're into hard rock, heavy metal kind of stuff. They're a great band. I know a lot of people here in the BC like to collect their stuff. This was fairly enjoyable. Unfortunately, this particular copy had some severe intergroove distortion on it, and it's not going to be staying in my collection because it's just not real listenable. Yeah, the record looks fine, but yeah, it just does not play at all. So this is on the Pink Carrere label, being a French pressing. So Saxon's The Eagle Has Landed Live. I like it, but unfortunately I can't keep this because of condition issues, so not going to be staying in the collection. But this is on Spotify if you want to hear this, and there's even an expanded version that has even more tracks, so that's pretty cool. Okay, next we have the 12th studio album by Joe Cocker titled One Night of Sin from 1986, or 1989, I'm sorry. 1989 is the year on this one. Yeah, this album is notable for the track When the Night Comes. I believe that was his final top 40 hit. It was written by Bryan Adams, was one of the writers on that one. It's kind of funny. You know, this is just an okay album from Joe Cocker. It is, you know, his voice is still strong here. You know, very, very well performed album. It does suffer a bit from an 80s overproduction, which doesn't necessarily work with Joe Cocker, I don't think. But it still has its moments. It still has its positive, you know, sort of things. At times it works well, but just doesn't always work. The inner sleeve has a photo and some liner notes, and that is on the silver and purple Capitol label, which I do like that one as well. So Joe Cocker's One Night of Sin definitely gets a sort of a mediocre thumbs up for me. I enjoyed it. It has its good moments. Not anything to seek out, but enjoyable enough for me to keep for now. So that's staying in the collection. Okay, next thing I have to share with you tonight is the debut dance album by the UK group Soul to Soul, titled Keep On Movin' from 1989 as well. Definitely a well-known, well-loved album that features the song Keep On Movin' on it. Also, You Get Back to Life, which was another hit for them. In the UK, it was called Club Classics was the title of the album, so it's kind of interesting that they changed the name of the album between the US and the UK. I think it was sort of a big, Keep On Moving was a hit in the UK, and then they wanted to sell it to the US, and the US knew about the track kind of thing. It started getting play here, and so they just titled the album Keep It Moving here. So yeah, just some great late 80s dance music, well known, well loved. Interestingly, not on Spotify, so it's kind of weird. It's not everything is there. Sometimes you have to have physical media. So I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but there is the inner sleeve, which is nice. And again, we have the Virgin black and blue label there. So yeah, Soul to Soul with Keep On Movin' or Club Hits, wherever you may be. Good solid album, enjoyable album, classic 80s dance music album, and definitely staying in my collection. Okay, last but not least, we have a progressive rock album from the UK group The Straubs titled Ghosts from 1975. The Straubs are a sort of a folk rock progressive kind of group, so that, you know, they're mixing those kind of themes together, so you're getting kind of like a Barclay James Harvest or a Fairport Convention kind of feel, a little more progressive. Good solid album from them, really enjoyable. If you're into progressive music, then you'll definitely dig this one. So I definitely say check it out if you get the chance. They even went into a little bit of bluegrass and glam. some of their albums. Were a pretty interesting group. They mixed a lot of different music together and made it fun. The insert here with some lyrics on it, or the inner sleeve, I should say. And that's on A&M Records label here in the US. So that's going to close out episode number 179 of The Violent Survivor, Straubs Ghosts. Definitely a thumbs up from me. Enjoyable progressive rock album here, and it's going to be staying in my collection. So thank you for watching this episode of The Vinyl Survivor. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, a great night, and we'll see you again real soon. Cheers.